Welcome. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the exact strategies, tactics, ideas, and ways that my most successful SaaS clients are using to scale their business every single day. Hi, my name is Matthew. Welcome to Sales and Marketing for Software and Technology Companies. I'm really excited to see you here. Now, if you are here and you are live, very much, a welcome, big, huge welcome to you. We'll be getting together over the course of the next 12 months, every single month, every single last Thursday of the month. And what I'm going to do at that time is share with you the elements that actually brings together all the parts of sales, marketing, and strategy that helps my most successful software and SaaS customers really scale up. Now, as a bit of a housekeeping thing, I'd love your help, please. If you are watching this live, I'd love you to go ahead and find the comment section in the LinkedIn. You'll find it in just underneath the video here. Just type in, yes, you can see me, hear me, and I'll go ahead and share my screen. And you can also tell me if you can see the slides as well. Let me just put me there. There we go. Okay, so can you see Sales and Marketing for Software and Technology Companies 2025? Let me know what you can see there. And while we're waiting for people to jump in and see those, and just let me know if you can actually see me and hear me, we'll go ahead and talk about the core elements, or why I'm so excited about 2025 and what we can do. There's an amazing amount of AI going on out there. There's thanks, Peter. There's an incredible array of what's going on. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, James. Really appreciate it. So, g'day, Nathan. How are you going? Thanks, Desiree. All right, then. Well, look, everybody, I'm going to assume everybody else can hear me and see me, everybody here on LinkedIn, and that's really where my main platform is. If you're catching me through Facebook or YouTube, welcome as well. And if I'm not connected with you, I'd love to be connected with you on LinkedIn. That's my main platform that I work with. So let's just dive in. I'm actually really excited about this one. It's the first one of the year, and I always start the year with sort of giving you the broad overview of what we're on about, and how I'm thinking, what I saw work in 2024, and what's going to work in 2025. Okay, let me just make me smaller. I'm not as important as the slides. Okay, here we go. So, sales and marketing for software and technology companies. Let's get into it. So, I always start with an agenda. It's important to start with an agenda because we're pretty organized people here in tech world, and I want to make sure that you really know what you're in for here. So, first of all, I'm going to talk about the main impact areas, and the main impact areas are the parts that if you just do one, there's 4 of them, and if you just do each one of these every single month or every single, whatever your cycle is, month, quarter, weekly, daily, if you just think about each one of these every period, you're going to be more successful by the end of the 12 months. Unfortunately, we're not hunting werewolves. There's no silver bullets. There's no magic wands. There is a truth within marketing and sales that continually reinforces over the 25 years that I've been specializing in marketing and sales in the software space, is that it is consistent execution over time creates the biggest results. Now, of course, engaging companies like mine, and there's plenty of businesses out there, but specialists like mine who can take your existing and processes and give them a ramp up. But even with me, it's not going to be I'm just going to go ahead and inject you with some magic serum and then it's all hunky dory. It's execution over time is going to be the most important thing we can think about. So they're the 4 key areas we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the evolution of sales. So I started my first tech business back in 1999. I'll talk more about that later on. But really, the sales has changed and is going to continue to change. And the speed of change is going to get faster and faster. So we've really got to understand philosophically what's happening and why it's changing, and how you and your business can make that work for you. The next one here, let me just know the keyboard's not working. Good. So the 4th part is people pay a premium for this. And this part, if you get this right, people will pay you twice as much as the competition. They will buy from you more often, and they will actually refer you more often because they feel better about referring you. So it's absolutely important. It was vital to get this part right. It's about getting customers to pay a premium for what you do. And the 4th part there is sales and marketing blueprint. I'm just going to go ahead and lay it out for you exactly the process from 1 to 8. what are the steps and exactly what to do in each step and how to think about each part of your marketing and sales process. Now, I say marketing and sales because marketing comes before sales. It didn't always, but the good old door knocking days are well and truly behind us. But what we need to do is we need to make sure we've got structure, we think about it. And I'm here to teach you each of these. Now, as I said, over the course of the next 12 months, I'm going to be doing a webinar every single month. And I'll go ahead and pull all these bits apart and focus on individual pieces to really give you that high value. Now, also throughout this webinar, there are going to be guides, tips, templates. Also, the bottom, after I've said goodbye today, there's also an extra bonus of in there. And if you want to grab those slides from me, just type in the comment section slides, and I'll make sure that you'll be emailed or sent the PDF. Whether if you're on LinkedIn, great. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, we'll figure out a way to get those to. Obviously, Facebook will get those to you as well. So just type in slides in the comment section, and I'll get those out to you as we go. I'll remind you again later on, and also stay towards the end because I've got a couple of bonuses for you to get into. So let's go. Now, first of all, before I really get too carried away, I probably need to tell you who I am, because really it's all well and good for a person to get up here and have the software and the boldness to come and tell you how to do stuff, but what qualifies me to really talk about this. So I'll just start at the beginning. Started my first technology business in 1999, grew that over the next decade and a bit, and we sold. We at the peak we had about 70 people, every Australian capital city and New Zealand city. We had representatives in or offices. We closed and did business of over $100 million worth of software sales. I exited that business. My wife and I ran the business. So I just want to be really clear. All I did was sales and marketing and strategy. I didn't run service or finance or people or anything like that. My wife Terry, she ran everything else. So don't ask me about people management. I'm just a good salesperson who has marketing and a bit of strategy thinking. So since then, I've exited, took a year off in Bali, and then was sort of pulled back to help my friends who I built over the years build their sales teams and strategy and sales. So I did strategy and sales for quite some time, but recognize that there's a real gap in the market where it comes to marketing. And now, marketers, there's lots of marketers. You can go to any networking event in the world and you'll trip over 3 of them. Now, the thing is, it's domain knowledge. It's specific domain knowledge that I guess gives me and my team now the ability to really excel and create that point of difference. And I'm not saying general marketers, like there's a real value in general marketers, but your product is probably pretty specialist. So customized. My best customers are ones that have got a great product. It's always software and technology products or SaaS products. They've always solved a complex problem elegantly, and it's now time for them to put the foot down on the accelerator when it comes to the strategy, sales, and marketing, that front end of the business. That's the part that I live in. And so that's what we did is we said, well, I've got the great strategy. I know what the strategy is. I know how to sell it, but we need fuel. And a couple of years ago, I partnered with a lady who's been in technology marketing for a long, long time. COVID happened. All of her properties went up, and we had a conversation. It was time for her to retire. So since then, a few models have happened. Last year, we locked in, or a year and a half ago, we locked in on a really strong model to really help our clients accelerate their success. And since then, it's been really fascinating watching our clients really take on board the strategies and ideas and marketing as a cohesive unit and bringing it all forward, because the marketing world and the sales world, even though they're often said in the same sentence and they perform the result is the same function, it's like saying your HR people are the same as your customer service people. Yes, they're doing something similar, but really at the end of the day, they're very, very different disciplines. So I've got expert marketers, the salespeople, bring them together. It creates a cohesive strategy. Okay, so I can see a few people wanting the slides. I'm more than happy to get that to you, and my team are on the call as well, and they'll be taking a note of who's asked for those slides. Okay, so last couple of years I've been doing that, and overall we've had some really incredible success with some of our clients that have really taken on board. Look, once again, I can lead a horse to water. You can follow along and go to all these webinars, and information is useless without actually putting it in place. And so I really encourage you to take notes, grab the slides, take screenshots, watch this recording again, go back through my back catalog of recordings and podcasts. We've also got a podcast that I host called The CEO and the Salesman. I interview CEOs of technology businesses who have crossed that chasm, exited, grown businesses of deca millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars. And I interview them and find out what their secrets are, and I'll tell you what the secret is. And it's really going to upset a few people who have used their logic and their structure and their capabilities really strongly to get to where they are now. And because it's having the best product is rarely the answer. Is going from product focused, and you're building a really great product, to shifting the focus to building a great business, which builds a great brand, which creates a great sales and marketing machine. It's that shift to sales and marketing that makes all the difference in 100% of the customers, or the very large technology business CEOs that I've spoken with. So just take that on board, take that for what it is, and we'll get into today's slides. I'll make myself smaller again. There we go. Cool. Let's keep going. All right, then. So the 4 key impact areas that I really want you to have a think about there. G'day, Glenn. Haven't seen you for a while. So here we go. So the 4 key areas here is, first of all, your target market. Sounds pretty obvious. Everybody talks about your target market. Got to get the targeting right. You can pretty much go to ChatGPT and say, what do I do first? Get target market. But this is specifically going a little bit deeper, because it's all well and good to know that you go after a certain size, your name, rank, and serial number. But when it comes to you communicating your value, you need to do that within the values and behaviors and role of the customer you deal with. And if you really understand that at a deep level, you can write copy, so you can write the words, you can speak very clearly to those people and invite them to come on board, invite them to be part of your movement, part of your software, far more with greater levels of articulation, just by knowing exactly who they are. So it's not just demographics, it's psychographics. It's how do they think, not just who they are. And if you're not thinking about how your customers think, and you're just thinking, oh, well, I'd go after logistics companies in Australia of a certain size, then you're missing the point, and you're just going to be relegated to the great wash of whoever else is out there, and just doesn't really provide you a great deal of value. Second part, now you know your target market, get really clear, get really narrow. Because so much like me, I don't want to be a general marketer. I only work with SaaS and software companies. I only work with those businesses, and over the course of the last couple of years, we've become really, really good at communicating value of really technical products in a simple and easy way. Second part is circle of influence. Obscurity is your enemy. Just I sort of go quiet there for a moment. I want you to think about that deeply. If more people knew about you, more people would buy from you. So we need to understand who they are and now get known by all of them. And that, we've got strategies, and I'll talk about, and I'm going to break each one of these down in a brief format. Obviously, as I said, I've got other webinars I'm going to do later on in the year, and also join up to the newsletter or the podcast, etc. Third part is your relationships. You've got to build that relationship. They might know about you, but if you don't add value, you don't put content out there, if you're not communicating significantly and often enough, then you're just going to be forgotten. And the fourth part is inviting people to buy from you. I know that sounds really obvious, but I'm just constantly surprised asking customers, what is your offer? How do you encourage and engage and enthuse people to buy from you right now? Because if you haven't created that inside your business, create offers, create ways of engaging with people, then you're going to actually just once again be discarded in the brain, and the customer's brain won't remember you. So let's carry on, because not everybody is your customer. So I'm now going to break down each one of those 4 just briefly. I'm going to break them down for you. And so this is, as I was saying, most people think about their target market like industry, size, and location, and that's fine. But in reality, if you just go after this, then you're going to be missing the point. I want you to think about the role. Now, not just the role of the person that signs the check. Figuratively, nobody signs checks anymore. Okays the purchase order or signs the contract, whatever it might be. Because if you're just marketing to the individual that signs the check, I'm going to keep using that term because I'm old. It signs the check. Then you're missing the point, because typically the CEOs, CFOs, COOs are busy. and everybody, it's I think about those roles. There's a huge lineup. Like, think about a nightclub. Think about how there's always a big lineup at the front door because you're just like everybody else. You've not differentiated yourself. You're just lining up with everybody else. But there's always a side door. There's always a VIP entrance. And how do you get to that? How do you get through the side door? Well, you think about the relay race that your sale undertakes, and the baton of the relay race is your product. And so you might come in through logistics, or you might engage with us in sales or project management or somebody in finance. And then that person goes, oh, I'm really dealing with this issue. And gee whiz, Glenn solves this problem for me really, really elegantly. But the CEO doesn't want to know about it, because if you take the same marketing material that engages the project manager and hand it to the CEO, different values, different wants, needs, desires, all that type of stuff. So you're going to miss the point. And so we need to think about how we communicate with the first person you deal with and all the way along the process, so you get to the point where you are delivering value. You're talking about brand reputation and market share with the CEO, but project manager, you're dealing with execution and operations type of stuff. You get the point. So that's role. What are the business values? And if you start speaking about values, you start moving away from being, once again, in the ocean of sameness. If you've read a business book in the last 20 years, it's probably, the red ocean or the blue ocean strategy. And the blue ocean strategy is, how do businesses find their little niche? How do they find the little wedge of the world that allows them to stand head and shoulders above the rest, get picked out and identified as somebody they want to do business with? And so you talk to values as well. What are your values? What are your best customers' values, and how do they align? And now you can start communicating those values. So my customers, they've got a great product. I've identified who they are. So, of course, industry, size, and location. I know I deal with businesses in the software and SaaS business world. I know that my customers are between the $1 million to $2 million to $3 million range. So in that space, I know that location. We're starting to get customers in the US and the East Coast of the US now, but mainly in Australia and New Zealand. And now role, I often will find myself engaging with people in the sales and marketing function, and then we go to the CEO, because the CEO really cares about that. So the values, I want to make sure that my values align. The values is, okay, we've now recognized it's now time to turn our focus, not necessarily away from product development, putting hands on keyboards to build code, but to expand our focus into, we've really got to commercialize our amazing product we spent all this time, energy, and effort doing. So there's the values part. And of course, also behavior. How do they behave? How do your best customers behave? How do your customers that you want to deal with behave? Think about that. Think about your existing client base and recognize that there are different values and behaviors there. And you'll find the ones that align best with you are your best clients. They're the 20% that pay you 80% of your revenue, and everybody else is the flip of that. Often where there's a value or a behavior disconnect, you'll find those customers complain a lot, take up a lot of customer service time, don't get it, don't want to engage, and overall spend way too much time in customer service, annoying your team. Okay, let's keep going. So then the next part. So that's the first one, is target market. Second one is circle of influence. And the circle of influence is simply as Gary Vaynerchuk. So for those of you who don't know, Gary Vaynerchuk started doing a wine, it's called Wine Library TV, I think it was, and basically he would sit at a little card table sipping wine at his father's bottle shop in New York, and then giving a little review, and he learned how to do that. And he did that over and over and over. And then because he did that every day, he then got known as the wine guy. He then went under Conan O'Brien because they were talking about wine. That was an interesting segment, and it just continued to grow from there. And now his marketing agency, he represents people like Nike and giant organizations. I think they're doing about $1 billion a year. They're in multi-cities. And his comment here is the number one asset for any business, entrepreneur, or personal brand is attention. His latest book, which I've read, is Day Trading Attention. And as I said earlier, the only reason you don't have enough sales is not enough people know about you. Simple as that. So your only job, but one of your main jobs is to get the attention of your target customer. If they don't know about you, they can't buy from you. All right, let's carry on. It used to be back in the day that Ted Turner started CNN. His father gave him a single outside billboard, and Ted turned that into a global multi-billion-dollar organization. And he used to say, "Early to bed, early to rise, work like hell and advertise." Now, you don't necessarily have to do the last part. Don't have to. Helps, but you don't have to, because the modern era, social media has given you and me the greatest platform for free. It's cost me, like, this software to do this live stream, I think it's $20 a month or $30 a month. That's it. It cost me $30 to reach hundreds and hundreds of people. And then my video is out there forever and people can come back and rewatch it. And so what I want you to think about there is you don't need to go ahead and spend thousands of dollars on advertising. So the two things that really work for us every single week, every single month, is where our customers put out free content. And the free content is just how you think. Your sent items, the answers to your clients is an incredible rich vein of content that you could be putting out there. Just a thought bubble that you have. You put that content out there and you can communicate how you think to your clients. If you think about the US elections, I'm not going to talk about politics, but there's a clear winner there when it came to the amount of attention the one person got versus the other. The Democrats had twice as much money, but they followed a traditional path, whereas the Republicans and Trump went on to free podcasts. Spent 3 hours having long conversations with Joe Rogan and whoever else. And once again, I'm not getting into the politics of the whole thing, but it was clearly this US election should be teaching you a great lesson that people want to hear more from you in an unfiltered, unscripted format. So that's why I interview CEOs on podcasts, and there's no barriers to entry on that either. It's free. I put it out there. And by me committing to doing that last year has created a situation where I now have to throttle. I now need to manage the number of new customers that I can actually take on board. I can take on 2 new customers a month. I've sold January. I've sold February. We're now taking, we've actually sold one in March already. So we're taking on clients and we're measuring that out over time. So we're not, once again, putting too much pressure on our business. We want to make sure we're delivering high value. And that's caused all through this free content. Yes, I do some paid advertising, and that's to introduce people outside of my circle of influence. Once again, I'm trying to continually expand my reach, and I do that through paid adverts as well. But really, free content, if somebody said to me, you can never spend another dollar on paid adverts, for me, I'd be okay with that. Because I'm more than happy to get in front of the camera and have conversations like this in an unscripted format. I've got a couple of slides, but really I'm making this stuff up as I go along. If somebody asks me a question or if somebody I recognize in the comments come along, I'll talk to you. So free content and paid ads. Of course, some of our customers, most of our customers are running paid ads because we recognize the value of both strategies. Some quick results. We have a look here, the free content part. So I won't read you so Sean here from Nexusoft says, Matthew's expertise brought a fresh perspective to our business. One thing I actually did is we refined the messaging and overhauled the sales process. These guys were giving away huge amounts of value during the sales process, and it wasn't being valued by the client. We actually put a stop to that. We actually charged the customer to provide an accurate quote. So it's like scoping and discovery. And a lot of you would do scoping and discovery, or they would do some type of audit to figure out you get value. Do that, charge the client for that. And I've had customers do everything from $2,000 to do that piece of work, all the way up to one client spent $29,000. We would charge $29,000 to do an audit to see whether or not the customer was qualified to buy the software. Just take a moment to think about that. It is a shift of thinking. Service is when you actually deliver the highest level of value to your clients, and you giving stuff away for free is not service, because people don't value what they don't pay for. And what happened in implementing that by sending out some DMs in LinkedIn. LinkedIn's great, by the way. I love LinkedIn. By sending out yes, Chris, you'll get the recording. By sending out DMs on LinkedIn, we actually helped them close about $2 million worth of business over the first 3 months of us working together. Once again, not a magic wand or a silver bullet, but what that did is it uncovered the value that this organization had. And what we did is we did a case study. I won't go into that. If you want to know exactly the process, I can tell you that one-on-one, if you like. I can give you that exact template if you want to book in a call with me later on. I've got a couple of slots available to have conversations, provide people some guidance. That'll be at the end. I'll make that offer at the end. Advertising, this is exact screenshot. I took these screenshots an hour ago. I wanted the most up-to-date information. Before working with TechTorque, TechTorque Systems is the business. This customer generated 32. So the top two advertising campaigns they were running, 32 and 18 leads, so 50 leads. That's right. Yeah, 50 leads, costing between $31 and $24 per lead. Spending about $1,500, $1,400 there. Whereas after we've spent 3 months, we've generated 182 leads, spent about the same money, and absolutely dominated. Now it's $8 to $5 of cost of leads. So there are some expertise. Obviously you can do this yourself, but there are expertise that a business like mine or most marketing agencies can guide you in developing and deploying really successful ads. Now, of course, this is following our blueprint that I'll share with you at the end of the webinar. And for those of you who have joined later, you can grab the slides. So Chris, if you want to grab the slides, just put in slides, please, and I'll make sure we get those over to you as well. Let's carry on. So the way to really engage with your clients, the way is to make sure you know their problems. Now, often my clients have been in a situation where they have come out of the industry. They've been fighting and struggling with the problem, and then they will come along and they will go, right, well, they sort of push the keyboard back and I'm now going to solve this myself. And so that's how they've come. So they've really got an insight on really understanding the problems that exist in the marketplace. And so, and of course, when it comes to content, the more paddles in the water, the faster you go. So if you are doing video, then you can cut it up into shorts. If you're doing written, then you can make a video about that written. So I have a structure which we teach our customers, and that structure is we have a hero piece of content. From that hero piece of content, we create an entire month's worth of social posts. We also maybe have a video about that. So we get the customer to do one thing, and out that draws a whole lot of content. So don't think you have to spend every single day thinking about content and the meme that says I thought I was getting into business to run a business. Now I'm a content creator. So you just got to do one thing, do it well, and then you can distribute it to lots and lots of different people. So this is one thing that I do. Once again, screenshot it or ask for the slides. I'm more than happy to send this to you. These are the only 3 ways you can get attention. There's only 3: one-to-one, one-to-many, and referrals and word of mouth. And there's so many different ways. Now, let the algorithm find your clients for you. That's a really great way to do it. But the algorithm is not just paid, but also free content. Free content, if one of your customers likes it and they're connected with somebody else, that person's going to see that they've liked it or they've shared it. That's really important to think about how that all comes together. So there's the ways you can do it. Once again, you can grab the slides later. So back to today's agenda, evolution of sales. So the evolution of sales over the course of the years, and I guess I'm in a pretty good position because I started selling, out of school, I sold vacuum cleaners door to door, which is hilarious. Imagine doing that these days. But now, when I first started my first tech business, I'll talk about that. That was in 1999. We would have an advertising would occur. We would do some adverts. Here's a little bit of a roughed up timeline, but 1999, marketing would happen, and marketing was basically advertising. We would put an advert in the newspaper. We would, let me just go to me. We would put an advert in the newspaper, 1-800 number, people a little 5 centimeter wide, long by 1 column wide in every newspaper. Once we've solved it in one newspaper and we've got the maths right, because there's marketing maths or advertising maths. If I could spend $1 and make $3, then it's the only maths I need to worry about is how many $1 I had. And that's exactly what we did. We scaled our marketing out. We're in every single newspaper in Australia and New Zealand. We started doing advertorial in magazines. We continued, and really we ran out of places to run adverts and to get people to phone us. So we were direct response marketing. So we're direct response advertising. So people would call our 1-800 number And then the salesperson would pick up the phone and they would distribute literature and talk about successful customers. They would build trust in the organization. They would qualify the client and invite them to purchase. And that's what happened back in the day in 1999. And over the years, marketing has been doing more and more of the work. And so if we go to the next slide, now 2024 and 2025, this is what we learned in 2024. Well, what I noticed in 2024, and it's going to happen, continue to happen more and more, is the marketing happens, people become aware of you. And then Google have even coined a phrase called the messy middle. If you want to Google it, go Google messy middle, and it'll talk about how customers become aware of you, and then they go all over the show. They're going to watch videos of you. They're going to download your white paper on whatever you think about. They're going to maybe watch a demo of you. They're going to talk to their friends about you. But all of this stuff happens in the middle. Your job at this middle part is to continually reinforce who you are and what you do, and be ready to be top of mind. Create that top of mind awareness. And what I'm also the biggest challenge here is technical people think logically, and it's what got you to the point where you are is logic. But what's going to get you to cross the chasm to creating a sales and marketing machine is the psychologic, is recognizing that the brain is an incredible deletion device. You, being an engineer, might be really great at remembering everything that happens in your world, but your customers aren't. They're probably not engineers, because if they were, they'd probably have already created your solution or a version of your solution. So you need to think about how you are engaging with the market, and you need just think about the deletion device. So if I was to say on your drive into work, if you're working from home, the last time you drove, how many Camrys did you pass? You go, well, I don't remember any. But if you're buying a Camry for your 16-year-old or a 17-year-old, you'll see a lot. And that's how the brain deletes so much stuff out of your world. And you continually see it. I didn't recognize, I didn't see anybody there. You walk through a crowd of 100 people, and at the end of it, you were asked, who did you see? I don't know, nobody. But there's people who, think about the Matrix, how people would walk through and the girl in the red dress, only one wearing red. And that's what creates that attention. So you need to, I'm not recommending you wear a red dress, but what I'm recommending is you be visible continuously in front of your clients. And so the marketing will now do the trust and credibility, build your story, maybe show a bit of a demo. And then when the sales happen, so I'm not saying sales is not useful. It's actually more important for salespeople to be really highly qualified and highly trained by professionals who've got a sales DNA inside them. You got to train your salespeople really well, simply because at that point, you stuff up that one phone call, you're out. Now, of course, sales might have to have multiple touch points along the path, but really what I'm talking about here is you need to make sure that you are driving your salespeople to be absolutely pinpoint accurate. We've just recruited and we're going through the process, 2-month training process with a salesperson. This person was a professional salesperson. He's not a baby either. This guy's in his 30s, like a really good salesperson for other people. But when we want to train a salesperson to come into our industry or sell my customer's product, we don't spend unless they've been selling exactly the same product to the same people in the same market, then training is philosophically fine, but then we've got to get into the nitty-gritty of it. And that's the real key. Once again, engineers go, well, you're a salesperson, just go sell things. That doesn't work, because salespeople need to be trained on your product, and they need to know and understand qualification, muddy, authority, interest, need, the main game, that type of stuff. So you need to get that sales part really, really right. Okay, so let's carry on. Let's get on to the next part. People pay a premium for this. Let me tell you a quick story. So I recently bought a television. And there was, Sony and the Samsung TVs and the Chinese TVs I never heard of. And the Chinese TVs had, and I'm not picking on China, they might have been from somewhere else, don't really know, but they were no name or non-recognizable brand names. And I bought a Sony. Why did I do that? The other TVs might have been just as good, but I had a high level of trust in the Sony TV. So I had a high level of trust it'll be good, even though I paid almost twice as much. It'll be good, and customer service would be good. And also, so now let's put that in the context of people you're trying to sell to. Your product might be better and faster and cheaper, and have all the bells and whistles and spinning hubcaps and all that type of stuff that your competitors don't. But how much trust do they have in what your product? If you're new to the market, you've got to build trust, and so we've got to create a situation where your clients feel that there's a very, very high level of trust in your product, in your brand, in what you stand for, and we do that through, and what I call shut up and take my money thing. We've got to build that trust. We've got to make sure that our customers are really engaged in what we're doing. And how we do that is we do that. And I just want to position this is growth happens at the speed of trust, can only happen at the speed in which trust is built. And the more trust you can create, the faster you can create it, and the faster you'll grow. The faster you can transfer it, the faster you'll grow. So I want you to think about that. How do we make sure? Because better, faster, cheaper is not how most businesses buy. It logically, if everybody lived in the logic world, if governments lived in logic world and large corporates lived in, your customers lived in logic world, they would probably buy a new product every, I don't know, new one that is better for cheaper comes out maybe every 6 months. Why do businesses continually stick with the exact same product and over and over? They continue to use Microsoft Excel, not picking on Excel, but why do they continue to use that? Because they trust that they can get the result, and also they won't look bad by using the existing product. Even if the existing product is really painful to use and really expensive, think about it. If anybody's old enough to remember the idea of nobody ever got sacked for buying IBM, it wasn't about IBM being the best. It was about IBM being the most trusted. So we need to make sure that your customers trust you and what you can do, and how do you gain that and transfer it to new markets, and that's how fast you're going to grow. How we get our customers, who are often better, faster, and cheaper. Well, first of all, one of my clients just recently, we had a meeting with them, and we put their implementation price up by 3 times, and we put the cost of the subscription up by 25%. Affected sales in no way, shape, or form, because we're actually thought about trust and the psychological part of the selling and the marketing rather than the logical part of the selling and marketing. So how do we do that? We do that through video testimonials. So if we have a look here, Evo Energy, one of the biggest energy providers in the country. And this person from Evo Energy said work, which is one of our clients, has improved the outcomes and processes for Evo Energy directly. And when we went to the Canberra airport, this chap from the Canberra airport said about them, the implementation from a paper-based system to fully digital one took about 2 weeks, which is absolutely unheard of for an organization like an airport with the level of regulation that they're required. But they made that and then now those videos have been viewed hundreds of times because they're starting to recognize the value. I got another client who was just about to start with us, but the first thing I said to them is, how do you build trust? Their website was very technical. It was all about compliance and process and following a system, and that's fine. But they're actually managing $80 million worth of. I won't go too deep into it, but yeah. And I said, well, the first thing a customer that comes along should be told is they're managing $80 million. And immediately the light went off in the entrepreneur's head and went, oh, that immediately is going to create more trust in my market. And so because somebody else has done it, pioneers get arrows in their back. Don't ask your customers to be pioneers by buying your better, faster, cheaper product. Demonstrate to them that lots of other cool kids are doing it. And here's some examples of cool kids. Why don't you do that as well? Another way of showing it is in written form. We want to bring up to the front the most important thing. So MediLaw increases weekly bookings by 150% with employing no extra staff. Or Game Clothing, 20% increase in sales. That one on the left-hand side created millions of dollars worth of new business, got the customer invited to various offices nationally to pitch their product. And when the competition like Microsoft and HubSpot and SAP were not invited, because they recognize that there's a lot of baggage that comes along. Not saying they're bad products. What I'm saying is that there are opportunities to demonstrate your capability. How do I do it? I demonstrate trust by being confident in my marketing. So the other thing you have here, what's interesting is advertising. And sometimes you probably sat there yourself and thought about, Super Bowl adverts or advertising on television or advertising in various other platforms. You think about it and go, why are they spending so much money? Well, yes, they want to make sales, but what they're really doing is they're putting their flag in the sand. They're making a stake in the moment, going, we trust our future so much that we're willing to spend $10 million on 30 seconds. And so therefore that transfer of trust is, you should trust that we're going to be around, and true, and accurately or not, that is this underlying psychological lever that's occurring, or psychological thing that's happening there, is that trust in, on my future of the business is not worth your $1 sale if you're going to buy a can of my fizzy drink. It's, I know that for the course of the next X amount of years, I'll get that return on investment. I'm going to sell packets of chips or whatever it might be. So your investment in your marketing, your investment in making the effort to communicate your values and to your customers is a demonstration of the trust you have in you and why your customers should trust you as well. And so, what I do is I've got a 20-something page book on things clients said about us. I've got videos of talking about how good we are. And so so when a customer first inquires, I send that to them. And also I say, well, any one of my clients you want to talk to, I can give you their phone number. I don't care about that stuff. I want you to understand that we have this, we're worthy of your trust. All right, let's carry on. Last part. This is it, the sales and marketing blueprint. This is taking a lot of time to develop, a lot of time to think about, and what's the structure of how we go ahead and make sure that our customers and our clients are successful. So let's get into it. This is possibly breaking every rule in the how to do a slide world, but I want to bring it all into, I want to bring something reasonably complex all into one. As I said, if you've joined late, you can ask for the slides. If you've got LinkedIn user as your username in the comment section, please just DM me on LinkedIn. Just connect with me, send me a DM, a direct message, and ask for the slides, and we'll make sure that you get them there, because not everybody's got a public profile there. So first of all, your target market, we've talked about that obviously. Second thing is high impact content. What is your high impact content? You've got to develop content that directly addresses your buyers' pain points. We've already talked about that, but I want you to think about that. How do we make sure we provide value? Because marketing is no longer putting an advert into the newspaper and hoping people call you on the chance that they might get some value out of it. It's continually demonstrating that value. And then building lead magnets. And I know that we probably have all got a folder of stuff we should read in the future. Lead magnets are simply, here's an example, here's some value that I can give you, and it's going to cost you your email address. It's been working for years. It's going to continue to work until something else starts working. And of course, surveys work, market engagement work, but all of these are lead magnets. How do we get a customer? How do we draw a customer towards us? And that's really important to develop high value resources. They cannot be a thinly veiled brochure. If it's a thinly veiled brochure, people will open them up. People will flick through and go, I'm out. You make a phone call. No, I'm not interested. So I want you to think about that. Fourth part is distribution. Free, once again, free works really well, and paid. Organic or paid. You can call it free or organic, whatever you like. You need to boost your reach and get maximum visibility out in the marketplace. You need to communicate your value over and over and over again through long form, short form, whatever the content might be, making sure that you're communicating your value. Just being good is not good enough. There's lots of good, there's lots of great, but you got to distribute it, you got to get it out there. Retargeting. You've landed, they've read your stuff, you're going to retarget them. How are you going to retarget them? Obviously, you're going to follow them around online. You're going to send them an email. You're going to invite them to events. You're going to communicate with them. You're going to maybe even phone them. You're going to continually communicate with these people. That's why sales and marketing is a machine, not a pill you take. SEO and SEM. Obviously, we've got to get the SEO right. You've got it. So search engine optimization. You've got to get found, because with advertising and free content, that might be top of funnel activity. People don't even know that they've got a problem, but I'm engaging with this because it's interesting. But SEO and SEM, somebody's Googling your issue or the thing that you solve, you've got to be visible. And if you're not visible, you've got problems. Because if you're not visible, they're going to find your competition who is advertising or who's spending effort and time on SEO and SEM. SEM is search engine marketing, by the way, if you didn't know. If you're not spending time and energy on those things, you're going to miss opportunities when people are making that, the bottom of the funnel, they are about to make a decision. So you don't just want to catch people at the beginning of the decision process. You might not be able to catch them all the way till the end, but if you can catch them at the end, then you can deploy, all the other assets that you've been able to bring up to this point. Then building your network, partner with industry influencers. When I say influencers, I'm not talking doing a TikTok dance. But who else in the industry who sells to your current target market that isn't a competitor? Can you engage with consultants to sell your product? Quite a few of my clients are engaging with consultants and then treating those consultants like salespeople. When I say like salespeople, not whipping them or creating KPIs, but engaging with them, nurturing them, taking them to dinner once a month, creating a consultant of the month award is creating that. Once again, if your consultant is your path to market, then you've got to create a way where your consultant continually remembers you, because that consultant probably has a long list of other options. So we want to make sure that you're the option for them. And of course, optimize. And then once you've done that, now you can go back and start tightening the screws. You can start, when you place an advert through your lead magnet, don't place one advert, place 5 adverts, place 10 adverts. There's software out there and businesses like mine that can create 10 adverts at once, all with slightly different elements. Back in the day when I was running my software company, we changed one word in a Google ad and took our cost of acquisition, so a CAC, cost of acquisition, from $1,000 a customer to $750 a customer. One word. So we changed. Continually optimizing and going through the optimization process and spending energy and time on that is where the money's at. Yes, you're going to get the big, sugar hits when you actually start doing this, but the continuous growth machine is what you're really looking for. That blueprint is when you start tweaking everything along the way and knowing what to tweak. Obviously, that certainly helps. So that's the blueprint. Once again, take a screenshot, ask for the slides. More than happy to distribute this. By the way, I give away all my best ideas. If you go through the back catalog of videos I've done, if you go back through the interviews, I've been interviewed on 4 or 5 other people's podcasts in the last couple of months, and we'll start distributing those as well, because people are starting to recognize that this guy's giving away the farm. I'm giving away all the ideas. I'm giving away absolutely every single piece of value that I can, because I know that somebody's going to go and do it themselves. Is somebody's going to do it themselves, and that's fine. Go for it. Why would I hold that? Why would I gatekeep that? But if somebody wants it done, then that's where I come. That's where my company comes in. So this is what a user journey might look like. And once again, I want you to think about, and whether it's paid or free, doesn't matter. I'm not shilling Facebook. I'm just saying this is paid or free. Paid is like getting to the front of the line because you're paying the money, but free will still get you there. You got to do enough of it to push through the process. So unaware of the problem, you want to target them. Then stage 2, we want to have them understand the problem. Stage 3, they're seeking solutions. You're continuing producing content, and and what happens, they receive email sequences. Then they're considering their options. What do? You have different email sequences at each time. And then, of course, asking them to buy. Deploy the appropriate content at the appropriate time for the people you're engaging with. And that's super important. Don't try to offer a proof of concept to somebody who you just talked to. That's crazy, because the inverse relationship between interest and effort exists. So I've got a small amount of interest. I'm going to have. So if I'm at the top of the funnel, therefore I've got a small amount of interest. I'm going to spend a small amount of time making effort to think about your product. At the bottom of the funnel, I'm very interested. I'm about to make a decision. I would spend a lot of time really pulling it apart and watching your proof of concept or engaging with consulting to really make sure this is perfect for you. So I want you to think about that and make sure that you're really engaging with your customers and meet them where they are. If they've got a small amount of interest, don't give them an hour long demonstration. Send them a short video. Hey, here are the 2 or 3 things of businesses just like yours have got value out of it. Do like a loom, and that will help them understand the value. Build value before you start showing them the product. That is so important. Okay, let's review. We're almost at the end. Any questions, please post them in the comments there. I've realized that I can't switch people on through the live thing here, but you can post comments and I'll answer them, because we've got about 10 minutes before the end of the webinar. If everybody's been blown away and they don't have time or they don't want to ask the question in public forum, that's okay. You can book in a time with me after the demo, after this conversation, and I'll make sure that you get everything you need. So let's go through them. As I said, I'm not going to go over them all again. But the four main impact areas: know your target market, get known by everybody, add value by those people, because you might get known and then you don't have value. That's not helpful. And then make sure you create an offer that encourages them to engage with you. And that offer might be like what I'm talking about. Come and have a conversation with me, or do some other value piece, or download a document from us, whatever it might be. Engage your customers to make sure that they're recognizing you really know what they're going through on a daily basis, and you've been there. Hi, Deborah. So the next part is evolution of sales. We now know that marketing is doing most of the time. You think about a sales is there's a timeline. Most of the timeline is taken up with the marketing messy middle, and they're going to be going on various platforms, reading, engaging, thinking, asking, talking before they engage, because making a phone call is absolutely terrifying in 2024, it seems, in 2025. So we want to make sure that we're giving the customer everything they need to be able to decide whether or not they want to engage with the business, because that's what's happening. Nobody's calling up on a wing and a prayer anymore. They're engaging through your content way before they engage with you from a sales perspective. Trust, obviously, paying a premium for this, build that trust. Case studies, testimonials, video, every different way you can engage in that trust. Getting referrals, obviously, that's why a lot of people you hear that build their business based on the back of referrals. Continue to do that. And then the last part is sales marketing blueprint. We've talked about that. I won't go through those 8 steps. That'll just be too long. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I wanted to share with you today. I do have a couple of bonuses here. If you want to have me look at your existing frameworks, what you're doing, what does your sales and marketing look like, put a message here in the comments, or message me directly, just asking for an appointment or a strategy. Let's call it a focus finder, actually. So just put focus finder in the comments section, and my team will reach out to you and organize a time to have a conversation. It's 45 minutes of sales and marketing review, extended Q&A. I'm going to go ahead and give you some campaigns and templates. As I said, I give away all my IP, so I might as well give it to you. More than happy to provide that to you. And of course, I'm going to give you recommendations on what you can do as a next step. Now, if you're not ready to engage at that level, which I know that a lot of you might not be, then you've got the ability to look at where do you sit? Well, how does your business look from the 4 key areas? Now, I've used a bit of AI. We've created a report, inputted quite a lot of our IP into this. And so you go through and answer about 20 questions, takes about 2 minutes, because they're yes, no questions or multiple choice. And what this does is it'll actually grade you where you're at right now, give you some answers of where you sit, like as a scorecard across the 4 key areas. And then it's going to give you the hot top 1 or 2 things to do in each category to make that score better. So you run that, go through it, and then you can come back later and see how you're actually progressing on those areas. Just gives you some of that focus as well. So you go to scorecard.techtorque.co, and that's all there for you as well. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. As I said, I've got some. I've got time for some questions and answers, and great presentation and link to the messy middle. So the messy middle is just Google it. It's a Google report for you, Aaron. That's out there, and you'll just understand what that looks like. And this is the messy middle. I know that about 100 people joined in for the webinar across all the platforms, and they're looking. They're going to think about it. They're going to go through and understand what they want to do next. If there's no questions, then I'll let you all go. Obviously, people don't want to ask the questions in the broader community. More than happy to answer your questions one-on-one. So just pop me an email and we'll go from there. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. If you've got any questions, my team are going to go through these comments and make sure you get the slides. If you want the slides, put slides, please. If you want to have a conversation with me, just put in Focus Finder. I'm happy to do that for you. And third of all, go ahead and have a look at my the podcast. I'm interviewing some really interesting people. I interviewed last week or published the interview with Maxwell Nee, who is one of the investors in that Score App product that I have there. And he actually used to run a very, very successful coaching business. And also now he's part of a global organization, and he talks about his secrets of success and how he was able to go from being Brisbane-based business to a global-based business. All right, thank you very much. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.